started a campaign called Forever Changed, which creates a message of hope for those diagnosed with cancer. It also creates awareness for newly diagnosed cancer warriors about all the options of treatments available. The Forever Change campaign started in October 2014. We have in the studio Forever Change campaign director Melissa Moodley, who will be sharing more information with us. But of course, we also have the founder, Addi. Ladies, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Coming through on this chilly Saturday, right? Addi, maybe if I can start with you. Let's start with your personal story. Why? What led to this?
Well, what led to this was I became a warrior, reluctant, but I became a warrior in June last year. That was the month of my diagnosis. And where we are today is celebrating life, which we should celebrate every day. Our campaign, the Forever Changed campaign, it's our first year. Many of the campaigns that are celebrating June as the month for warriors is international. There's been 30 years of celebrations of warriors over the years. But our campaign has got a life of its own, and we're here to stay. The campaign will outlive us, and that's the message.
Yeah.
It is hopeful. Life changes enormously when you get the 3 lovely words, not the ones that say I love you, the ones that say you have cancer. And it turns your world upside down. I can't sugarcoat for any warriors that it isn't the case, because it is the case. Our story is that you can't choose what happens to you. You can choose how you cope with it.
Yes.
And the way that I've chosen to cope with it is to create awareness for other people. We're creating a film documentary. We've got events, we've got flash mobs, we've got soirees, we've got art exhibitions. But essentially, Forever Changed is a message of hope. It's a warning. And it also explains my story. I certainly don't think that I'm any more important or less important than any other warriors. We're all in it together, and we're hopeful, but our story has a message of warning.
Addi, last year this time, were you completely taken by surprise, and what were the first things that you did to kind of deal with this news?
Well, to be very honest with you, the diagnosis came on the day that was the anniversary of my father's passing 5 years ago, so it had enormous impact. I think initially I went into a complete denial mode, frozen. Took me 2-3 weeks to tell my life partner, who I call my rock. It took another 2-3 weeks to tell my family. I think from denial we went into reluctance, acceptance, and then the process with the doctors started, and the surgery and the treatments and the chemotherapy, and so it was a whirlwind. It was a complete whirlwind. It's something that I thought would happen to somebody else. I never thought it would happen to me. And when it does happen, it takes a minute to find your feet. You need a very good support system around. I was very blessed with that. And what we're saying to other warriors are steps to take. Don't feel that you bullied and bulldozed into a particular way.
And then Melissa, maybe that's where I can get to you now, the month of June being the Warrior Month. What is it that the campaign focuses on, the key messages that you want to get out?
Well, I was very surprised initially to find out that there was a cancer calendar. And I think very often, if you're not, if this isn't something that affects you directly, or you have a history of it, you have no information. You become apathetic, and you pretty much go with it. And I've been very privileged just to have Addi in my world, speaking to my life, and to have followed her and her journey. And that's where International Warrior Month came to my attention. And it's a very exciting month for us because it's a call to action. We're standing up. We're saying enough is enough. We're taking responsibility for our worlds and our lives. We're calling people to account. And we're getting platforms, powerful platforms, to partner with us and say, no, let's speak with one voice. Let's make a difference. Let's go out there together. There's power in the masses. And there's power in a collective and a raised voice.
Where does one start? Is the internet, for example, I mean, these days we've got information at the tip of our fingertips,
Yes.
at least.
Yes.
Where do we go to kind of get information that we know is going to be the right information from the get-go?
Well, there's masses on the internet. Last year, when people said to me, research, look at it, find out how toxic chemotherapy is, I was frozen. I was unable to find that information for myself. And when I look back on the last 8 months, I only wish that there was somebody that sat me down and said, these are your options.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Beside being pushed into an option of chemotherapy, which in hindsight I would never have had and I'll never ever have again. So the options that we're saying, we're making a film documentary, the options are, these are the choices that you've got. Don't rush. Take your time to decide, because there are side effects and there are ripple effects and there's a domino effect. So what we're trying to create is a butterfly effect. We're all butterflies having a human experience, and we all go through enormous change at some point in our lives. And it's really a story about how you're going to cope with it. I never realized at the time, because no one sat down with me to explain. If you have chemotherapy, you're going to have long-term side effects. If you have chemotherapy, 97% of the cases, it doesn't work. If the doctors had said to me, there is a test that you can undergo to see whether your body is receptive to chemotherapy or not, I didn't know. I wasn't told to have a bone scan. I landed up with fractures as side effects of chemotherapy. I'm saying to people, there are other options.
Why do we think that in our health system, this important information isn't necessarily shared at clinics or by doctors?
Look, in an ideal world, all this information would be centralized at a point. And like Addi alluded to, there'd be a roadmap on how to deal with something like this and what your various options are. But that's in an ideal world. And I think it's about using the tools at hand. So yes, we do have the internet, but there are lots of myths on the internet. Let's call a spade and be honest about it. But it's about getting to our medical practitioners and going for the test, and then going for another test, so getting a second opinion, getting an objective opinion. Don't just go along with it because you've had a GP for 5 years and there's a half a decade worth of relationship and trust there. No, when it comes to your body, take responsibility. If something feels wrong, often, 100% of the time, something is wrong. And so, yes, in an ideal world, I wish there was a centralized point and I wish we could point people to it. But that isn't the case. Yeah.
This campaign's still very new, but do you look at maybe partnering with any clinics or doctors?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. We holistic. We anti-cancer, the chemotherapy. We anti-radiation. We're quite controversial. People are very rattled by what we're saying. What I do know is that I have a huge following. Our article came out as a feature story in March in the Longevity magazine. I'm partnering with international people that feel the same way that I do. And it's got nothing to do with the big pharma. The big pharma doesn't want us to find alternatives because they are looking at $200 billion a year that they're earning in the cancer world. So we become an asset to them. I'm saying, wake up, world. There are other options. And this message is through my own hard learnings. I'm not advocating something to anyone else that I haven't gone through. And I'm trying to walk the walk and talk the talk.
Addi, Melissa, it's good to know that we live in a world full of options and that this campaign is there to help us. And I hope that it goes well.
We've got a big event coming up on the 20th of June. That's how people can support us. They can come and see us. We have a soiree. We have an art exhibition. We have incredible footage that our photographer Girolamo from Italy has taken. It's capturing emotions that I have gone through. And there's the art exhibition, there's the soiree, it's called War Stories. And there are enormous ways that people can support us, but they have to understand the ethos of what we're doing.
We've put your details up on screen.
Thank you.
And our viewers know how to get in touch with you. But best of luck, ladies.
Thank you so much.
That was Forever Change campaign director Melissa Moodley talking to us about the campaign's message this year. And of course, we were joined by the founder, Abby Lamb. It's now time to take a break. We'll be back after this short commercial break.